Alright guys, so you're thinking about playing VR horror, but you're not sure what to play first. Well, VR horror isn't really for the faint of heart, in that if you're struggling to play through regular horror games or just a regular horror movie, be prepared to have a stack of just half-played horror VR games that you weren't able to complete because they were just too scary and just too hard to get through. VR horror is scary, it's invasive, and it's creative in its methods to try and make you quit the game. It gets in your head, it gets in your ears, and it gets right in your personal space. So we'll start with a classic, and that's going to be Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted. So this game is basically a collection of nightmare scenarios that were pulled from across the Five Nights at Freddy's universe and redesigned specifically for VR. You're thrown into a series of minigames where the goals are simple, and that is basically just to monitor the cameras, close the doors, manage the power, and survive the night. And most importantly, don't let anything get close to you, because if it does, then you're done. The game is basically around short and intense experiences where the animatronics will slowly close in into your position, forcing you to react under pressure. But here's what makes it different in VR. These animatronics aren't just on your screen right in front of you anymore. They are all around you. VR amplifies everything. The action feels real, the distance, the space, it all feels real, and the jump scares feel personal. Even critics have called this game a masterclass in suspension because of how immersive it becomes. And based on the views and players and how they feel about it, they all agree. You can't react in time for a lot of it. I have failed so many times. This game is a must play. Alright, and next on our list is another classic, so Paranormal Activities, The Lost Soul. Now, not everyone likes this game, or not everyone's had success with this game in terms of maybe it's crashed a few times. Personally, I haven't had any issues with it. I've found it like awesome fun. But yeah, Paranormal Activities drops you inside of a haunted house and leaves you there, defenseless, no weapons, no real guidance, and nowhere to hide. Just you and whatever's inside the house with you. But unlike Five Nights at Freddy's, this game is less about the mechanics and strategy and more just about playing through a story experience. You'll explore slowly, open doors, cautiously check around corners, and the entire time something is watching you. Players have often described it as less of a game and more like playing through a movie. Objects will fly around, lights will flicker, sounds from behind you, everything that you expect in a VR horror. And yeah, VR horror is very good at making your brain believe what's going on around it. So yeah. With no constant action and just pure silence, some parts just you're just basically waiting for something to happen and your brain is just filling in all the gaps. Okay, so we've talked about a couple of single player games. Now let's talk about the multiplayer ones. And let's start off with another classic and what I think is one of the kings of replayability, and that is Phasmophobia. You and up to 3 players, I believe, will be in haunted locations and you'll be ghost hunters. Your job is basically to figure out what kind of ghost you're dealing with. Sounds fun until the ghost starts hunting you, really. You use EMFs, spirit boxes, cameras, all to gather evidence. But one of the game's best mechanics is going to be your use of, your voice. And the ghost can hear you, and it can react to you in VR, and it becomes a lot more terrifying. Players have said that Phasmophobia has made them quit several times, and I am definitely amongst those figures. You'll never know when the ghost is going to appear, except for when you start hearing the heartbeats, and you'll never know who it's going to target. Well, unless you're a really advanced player, some of them will tell you they just can walk into a house and tell you exactly what the ghost is within 3 seconds. But not me. Yeah, and this is why I think this game's a must play. It is by far one of the best co-op horror game experiences I reckon I've had on Steam. Overall, in terms of immersion, in terms of the mechanics, like I said before, replayability, it's just a bit of a fun one. You've got to check it out. You'll know what I mean once you start playing it. And look, if you go look in the reviews, you'll see what everyone's saying about it. Overwhelming positivity. Okay, so next is Forewarned. So yeah, if you were to take Phasmophobia and put it in ancient Egypt, that is pretty much Forewarned. Instead of a haunted house, you're going to be exploring ancient Egyptian tombs. And yeah, where it gets worse is that where these hauntings would just sort of end once you found out the ghost. Unlike Phasmophobia, you're going to have to completely banish the entity via ritual at the end. These entities may be invisible, they may teleport, or they might just sprint around the map, listening for your voice. The gameplay is kind of a mix of puzzle solving, exploration, survival, and, well, yeah, once you open the tomb, that's when things go wrong quickly. It becomes pure panic after that. You're sprinting through tight corridors, trying to find the entrance and hopefully escape or get to the last ritual. And yeah, when you're in VR, claustrophobia can kick in. Awesome maps, awesome maps. Small, medium, large, depending on how long you want the game to last. Pretty much means that like every game can be like a little bit more unpredictable. So yeah, no, it's pretty good fun. Why is it a must play? Well, I think it's kind of good, a unique setting. Combines suspense and a bit faster pacing pretty well. Can be a little janky, but to me, that's kind of like the fun of multiplayer sometimes, because you can get some good funny moments from it. And yeah, so that's the 2 multiplayer games I reckon you guys should just give a crack at. The special mention game at the end. So this one isn't out yet, up and coming, but I'm really looking forward to it, and that is Little Nightmares VR Altered Echoes. If you played the original Little Nightmares games, then you already know something about like the disturbing world sort of thing. But now imagine that in VR. So now we're no longer watching a little character run across like the screen and the creepy environments. Now we're going to be that character. The game's expected to follow the same puzzle sort of like solving format, the stealth and the avoiding these like grotesque sort of enemies, but now we're going to be in that VR sort of like first person view. Oversized enemies towering over the top of us, closing in on us, and with the signature Little Nightmares atmosphere, hopefully. Hopefully going to feel way more intense. Probably a lot of good jump scares, but I don't think it'll really be about that. It'll probably be more about the discomfort, the unease, the feeling small, the helplessness in like the sort of world that you're in. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, an iconic series turned VR. Yeah, like I say, a weird sort of gross world, different feeling than a lot of other games that I've played. And yeah, I just think it looks really cool, to be honest. So that's just why I'm looking forward to it. It's pretty unique, and I like the world. Who knows? It might end up being like a really, really scary experience as well. So yeah, guys, that's it. Thanks for sticking around and watching my not my top 5, but 5 VRs that I reckon you should definitely check out. So just to recap, guys, that is Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted, Paranormal Activity's The Lost Soul, Phasmophobia, Forewarned, and soon upcoming will be Little Nightmares VR Altered Echoes, which hopefully will play on the channel in the future. We've already played a couple of those other titles on the channel, so if you want, guys, check out Kemp Fam Horror Gaming. Yeah, tell us what you think. If you've got some suggestions, or you've got 5 games that you would recommend that are better than the ones I've suggested, please guys put them in the comments and let me know which ones I should play next. Thanks for sticking around, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.